Time is X minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
It's the Rocket Hour. Y'all are now tuned in. Time to hit the pick four that you'd love to win. If your money's coming slow, step on the faster track with your host, Ricky Pasternak. Let's go.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Rocket Hour, Thursday, June 10th. I just wanted to, Aaron, before we get started, I just wanted to continue the conversation briefly with your own rankings that we talked about yesterday. So if you guys missed yesterday's show, we basically talked about the top 10 NTRA poll, which was utterly ridiculous, going through some of the voters, just because I usually don't like to say people are blatantly wrong when it comes to their voting. They were blatantly wrong. Many people were blatantly wrong. This is Aaron's list here. Real quick, before we get into today's racing, did you have any difficult decisions, whether it was ranking in the top 10 or maybe someone on the outside that couldn't quite make it? Did you have any tough decisions, or did you think this was pretty clear cut?
I think it's always tough when a horse doesn't run very well, but has had really good races on the resume coming into the race where he or she did not perform up to expectations. So keeping Colonel Liam at number 7, I think I had him at like 3 or 4. I could have dropped him a little more. That was kind of my thing. I almost put him out, and I was like, no, the horse has won 3 pretty big races, just didn't run very well. He's going to fall, though. There's no doubt. So that was kind of my big one. That was my big debate. Everything else I felt pretty straightforward about this week.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. That was the one that kind of stuck out just because it was such a bad effort. But he's been really, really good this year. So I don't know how far you want to drop him off the one effort. For the biggest thing I took away is Country Grammar. He deserves to be in the top 10, but just, in my mind, just think of where we were like a year ago at this point. I mean, he wouldn't even, I don't know if he'd crack the top 50. I mean, he was horrible. And maybe it's the juice on the loose, but he has turned it around since switching barns. And he's been really, really good this year. So he deserves to be in the top 10, at least for the moment. I'm not sure what's next for him race-wise, but definitely nothing in New York. And it's going to have to be out west, maybe Del Mar. It's not going to be at Saratoga or Belmont with Bobby B being suspended. But no, that was interesting. I just want to bring that up to continue and close the conversation real quick before we get into today's racing. If you guys are more interested in this poll, go to racingdudes.com. I think it's like the first link on there, so no issues getting there. Let us know what you think about Aaron's list, and he kind of goes into breaking down the divisions as well with a quick sentence or two. So let us know what you think on that end. Aaron, it's been a long time since we've previewed races together. I was kicked off last Friday, and yesterday there wasn't a lot to cover, so we're going to get right into it here. We're going to start with race 6. Aaron has officially gone away from the race-by-race suggestions. I think that's officially off the table. He's now officially playing pick 4s. That seems to be the trend. So, Aaron, I'll start with you. Race 6 here. By the way, post time for this is 5:43. They don't kick off till 3:05 today. Aaron claiming $35,000 for 3-year-olds and upward, going 1 1/16 miles on the turf. That's 8.5 furlongs. We do have 2 main track only horses, the 2 and the 9. There's a Storm Bruin and American Rule. Aaron, let's kick us off here. What did you think of the opener in the sequence?
Yeah, I went 4 deep to start this thing off. I thought this was a pretty tough race to start it off. You definitely could have a lot of different options here. I went with number 10, Kid Mercury on top. I like the second off the layoff for Grand Motion Angle, also a drop down in class. I think that's 2 very strong things. And 6-1, I really liked that price as well. So I did take Kid Mercury on top. Another big thing, I see a lot of early speed in this race. And I know sometimes in New York that doesn't materialize like we hope it would. But I do think it could here, and I think Kid Mercury is one that could pick up the pieces late. This is a gelding that has shown a decent turn of foot and some a little bit tougher races, and has still ran on to not win them, but run fourth, fifth, close up some ground. So hopefully the drop in class helps. So the 10 is who I put on top. The number 3, Dante's Fire. I certainly think this is another one to really use. This is another closer that I'm going to put on the ticket. Mike Maker, Jose Ortiz, obviously a very good combination. This horse has been running in tougher races, has been running in longer races as well, coming off of a little bit of a layoff, but that's not a bad angle for Mike Maker. I just think this is another horse that logically can pick up the pieces if that pace is hot, like I believe it's going to be. So the 3 and the 10, that's who I started off with.
Yeah. I'll go to 2 other horses and then one that you didn't use. There's going to be a horse that I didn't use that's on your ticket, so you could talk about that one. For me, it's Mathail. I think I'm saying that right. Dylan Davis has come back off his injury and has been absolutely fantastic. I think that's one of the underlying stories. When these PPs were downloaded, he was 3 for 7 in the win category, which is obviously 43%. Now, obviously, he's not going to keep that up. But Tom Morley has done a nice job at the meet. Again, another underrated trainer. Doesn't get all the love here. This horse has, again, been running against much tougher. I don't like to go this far back in the past performances, but if we look at a race on November 20th when he was running for Greg DePrima at Aqueduct at this level, he finished second by a neck. He was 13-1 on that day. He jumps up as soon Morley gets him, puts him in allowance optional claiming races. Those are all horses that are better. Mind you, 2 of those were on fast dirt. The last one was over a sloppy track in a race that he probably shouldn't have been a part of as well. I think that's why you're getting the 4-1 morning line. There are a lot of things that I pointed out there. Obviously, this horse belongs on turf, given all the pedigree and given her his last performance at this level. It was a while back, but I think this is where he belongs. The other horse that I thought was interesting is Democratic Values. We don't really know what this horse is on the turf. This horse had a big purchase price by Honor Code. Hasn't lived up to that at all. But in 7 races, he's finished in the money, top 2, I should say, in 4 out of 7. He's been really, really good this year. If anyone got a chance to look at last race, it's really a throwout, right? Because he was up on the front end, but he never got the lead. Now, again, all this could be thrown out the window if he was just dreadful on the turf. I'm willing to take a chance with this horse. Rudy Rodriguez knows what he's doing, and Javier, I kind of prefer Javier on the turf, to be honest with you. Even though he's only winning at 9%, it doesn't matter. I think this is going to be the horse that's probably going to be on lead. I'm with you. There is a lot of speed in here, but I'm not sure anyone's quick enough to go with him early on. The only horse on paper might be the One Big Wonder, and I don't think he's very good given how much he fades. So those were the 2 horses I keyed on. I went 3, 4, 7 in this spot. There's one other horse that we didn't get a chance to talk about that you used.
Yeah, I definitely used the 4, did not use the 7. I think the fundamental difference, you said that you don't think there's a lot of speed in the race, and I do, so that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I did use the 12 last zip. I didn't love it, but it was a situation of the connections Maker and Saez. Obviously, that's pretty strong in a race of this caliber. I like that the horse has some early speed, but doesn't have to be on the lead and is drawn outside of everybody here. Last time out was eased. Obviously, something didn't go right there for sure. But, you look at the race two back at Aqueduct against $35,000 claimers, only got beat 2 lengths, ran a pretty good race. This horse is just wildly inconsistent. That's the thing. But, if he comes up and runs his best race today, he's got a good shot to win it. And again, I really didn't want to get beat by these connections. You'll see a Mike Maker horse a lot of times that has like muddled up form, and you're like, oh, I don't think that horse is very good. And then he or she goes on to win. So I didn't want the 12 to beat me. I threw the 12 in there as well. So 3, 4, 10, and 12 to kick it off for me.
The reason why I didn't use the 12, and I completely agree. Well, sometimes a Maker muddled up form actually is intriguing, right? Because there could be a reason or 2. I just didn't love that he has so many seconds. He kind of seems like he's running with the pack. and he has some early speed, but this course, again, if people that are listening don't know, the way they start, obviously, at the mile and 16th, it's very disadvantageous for a horse on the outside. I'm just concerned that he won't be able to get to the lead and he's going to be pushed back. But he does have talent, and this is where he belongs. It's from the consistency in this way kind of hurts him. Usually I like to see more consistency. He hasn't won a race since like 2019, I believe. So but again, that's part of the muddied up form. Let's talk about a horse that has won 2 in a row now for Robert Falcone, Aaron. That's the 6th Croymore. This was a horse I had a really tough time leaving off. Robert Falcone has done a fantastic job shipping from Santa Anita. His horses are in form. This horse has won 2 in a row. He won at the 30,000 level last time out. I had a really tough time keeping him off because, to your point, if there is speed, he should be sitting that perfect trip. For you, what was the reason that you left him off, or do you just think that last winning by a neck is just not going to be good enough here?
That was kind of it. The speed figures for both of those wins did not come back fast compared to some other horses in this race. A lot of times at the claiming level, that's not the worst thing because, you get in this level, they're all pretty similar. You want a horse that's hot. I get it. If you want to play that horse, I get it. Just wasn't for me because of the low speed figures. Also, Jose Ortiz jumps off to ride Dante's Fire. And I know it's Maker, and that's probably a big reason why, but it's still, it's not the greatest of signs. If you have a chance to go a little deeper in here, that's certainly one I would throw in. It was just speed figures for me, just left a little bit to be desired.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. That's where I ended up too. But I do think he's going to be a horse that if he won, I wouldn't be entirely surprised, and you should get a decent price. I'm just worried about the way Falcone has been shipping here. All his horses that have been coming from out west, like this horse broke the maiden at Golden Gate and then immediately jumped in to a higher level. Usually maiden claiming 20, you want to see something lower, but this horse jumps up and wins again. Maybe he just has the winning knack. I guess we're going to find out here. But that was a horse I'm afraid of. Is there a horse that we didn't talk about that you were interested in talking about or getting my opinion on, or any horses that you're scared of that we didn't mention?
I guess you kind of touched on the 7, and I agreed with you a little bit there. First time on the turf. Doesn't really have a horrible turf pedigree. This horse was pretty bad last time out, and I think that's why now we're going to switch, because he had won 2 races on the dirt before that loss last time out. So, yeah, the 7 to me certainly has a shot. I think it's a pretty good use by you. That's really the one I'm most scared of.
Yeah, I also, if we're just assuming this horse takes to the turf to some degree, he did win at a starter allowance level 2 starts back. That on just class alone, that's a tougher class. Mm-hmm. Now, again, I'm assuming he's going to take the connections indicate, that they're more than good enough. We've never seen a horse on the turf, but I'm going to assume that they know what they're doing. There really no morning works either to indicate this horse is going to get to the dirt. Yeah. But you taught me this a long time ago. Maybe that dirt to turf speed is going to play even better. I just think, I'm with you. 10-1 is just a price I want to be a part of, because I do kind of think the 3 and the 4, Dante's Fire and Malthail, I think I'm saying that right, is a cut above the rest. That gives me wiggle room for one long shot. So that's kind of where I went there. Let's move on to the next race. That's race number 7. It's an allowance race for fillies and mares. 3-year-olds and upward, going 1 1/4 miles on the turf. We do have 2 more MTOs, the 1 Halo City and the 10 Courageous Girl. I'll start this one by saying I thought this was the toughest race of the sequence. I put the 4 Windfall Profit on top. And to be honest, I think I can make a case for a lot of them. He comes in at 6-1 again, Javier Castellano, but Shug McGahee. I think this horse runs better as of late when she's on the front end, or one win that she got was on debut. Based on that race, a lot of people probably thought she was going to be really special because Shug McGahee horses don't win first time out very often. He tends to be on the more conservative side, tends to kind of let them develop on their own, maybe 2, 3, 4 starts. She won on debut, obviously belongs on the turf given her pedigree, but she's still struggling. I think she's just going to sit a perfect trip here because, Aaron, I looked around. I think the 5's going to go. I think the 6 might show some early speed. The 9 showed more speed last time out. I just think she's going to sit a perfect trip, and she's been tested at this level. But again, I think this is one where you can really go deep. And for my money, I went 4 deep here. The other horse I thought that I wanted to really lock in on was the 5, Prairie Wings, obviously by Tappet, can go longer. And then on the dam side, Love Me Only's bred in Ireland. This horse has also took a while to break the maiden, but now we've only seen her once this year. I expect her to be much better off the layoff, and she's probably going to be her prevailing speed. That's my guess. And here, these races tend to be won on the front end or mid-pack. I've really tried to avoid many closers, deep closers in here. I have one. But that's who I'm locking in on, the 4 and the 5.
Yeah, I played the 4 on top as well. And I'm with you. I just kind of think the 4, if you can get back to the race 2 back, they're going to have a tough time beating the 4. And I'm with you as well. I think this is a really tough race, really tough. So I played the 9, Higher Truth, in second. And if you remember, this was a Rocket graduate on April 22nd. We talked about this race. It was a 1.25 mile turf race. We've actually talked about 2 of those races in the past, and this was the first one we talked about. This was the other Brown that won at 9-1 and beat Coalition Building, who was the favorite. And like I said, won at the distance and looked really good doing it. Only her second start as well. So I think there's room for improvement today. Boy, I like 6-1 on Higher Truth as well. So the 4 and the 9, definitely the 2 that I kind of looked at. Then the other Chad Brown horse, the 6, Lenny Kate. Last time out, just draw a line through that. That was off the turf allowance there at Keeneland. Horse did not run very well at all. Gets back to the turf. Lenny Kate is a horse that won on debut, and then it's just been like, a layoff, and then 3rd in an allowance, then another big layoff, 3rd in an allowance. But those 3rd place efforts ran pretty well. I think Lenny Kate's got a shot as well. So yeah, 4, 9, 6. And then I'll go ahead and talk about my last one, the 7, High Opinion. This horse has been really close. And I thought last time out, was kind of a tough luck loser. Thought she was going to get the job done. I like to stretch out in distance, Lemon Drop Kid, on the top, More Than Ready on the bottom. I think that Lemon Drop Kid progeny always wants to go long. So I do like the 7 here. I think could get the job done. I don't really like the 3-1 price. I'm skeptical the horse will be 3-1. I think with 2 Chad Browns and that Shug horse in there, that horse may not actually go off the favorite. So for me, I'm going to go 4, 6, 7, and 9 in this spot.
Yeah, and then you have the Pletcher Prairie Wings as well. So I'm with you. If you get 3-1, that's a real bad price. Maybe unless she's just a monster, and then if that's the case, then it's a great price. But we don't think anyone in this field's a monster. I'm with you. That race in the Winter Memories back in November would be good enough to win. She faced Duopoly, and she only lost by 3/4 of a length. Duopoly would be better than this field, probably the overwhelming favorite, more than likely. And she came back and ran well. It's going to be interesting if she can get the distance. As I go through this field, no one's really gotten the distance. No one's really been able to run, or we haven't seen it. The 3 made in Italy, going to be making her United States debut for Graham Ocean. She's done it a couple times, only 1/3. What Does a Shark Say? It's gone longer than this. She has a win. And Higher Truth did it last time going this distance, so maybe the Higher Truth will enjoy this as well. Obviously by Galileo, has all the Irish pedigree you would want there. The difference between the 5 and the 7 for me, the 5 and the 6, I'm with you on the 7. I thought Prairie Wings is going to get the go-ahead on all the rest of the field. Now, Lenny Kate did show some speed last time out, but that was over a sloppy track. I focused on the race 2 starts back. And so it was an allowance optional claiming against Open. but that field was not that strong. I'm not a big Kilkea fan anyway. Kilkea runs on the front end, and I just didn't think that was good enough. And then I like to see turf horses sometimes get scratched. Chad Brown kept this one out there for a reason I'm not sure. Maybe the mere fact that she's going to get paid anyway, because there were only 4 horses left.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. I mean, you're going to get some money, I think, for just running at that point. But she was brutal. And at 4 to 9, at 4 to 5, even though she has she should be on the turf, that was still really disappointing. You can't throw a line through that one. I'm with you, but I still would have figured just on talent alone, she shouldn't finish over 11 lengths away. And the fact that Chad Brown even kept her on there, I thought was interesting in itself. But it is Chad Brown. It is Joel Rosario. So we're going to see there. I think this is, again, the most wide open race of the bunch. Let's move on to the 8th race now. Aaron, this is an allowance. Optional claiming 80,000 for 7 furlongs for drills and upward. This field of 6, but a lot of these runners do have some stakes races on their resume, or stakes competition, I should say. Where did you go in the 8th race?
This one is super fascinating to me because I really think number 2, Town Classic, is a standout. You look at 2 races back, only got beaten by a length to Basin and Frosted Grace, 2 horses I think could win here. And then last time out, got beat by Frenze Fire and Chateau, 2 horses I think would win this easy. Frenze Fire maybe by 4 or 5 lengths. So to me, Town Classic just seems like a standout. But the big problem, it's been a long time since we've seen this horse in the winner's circle, right? And that is always scary. When that happens. And that's why I did not single, even though I think Town Classic is the most likely winner here and the most likely winner of the sequence. I did not single. I'm just worried. Hadn't seen that winner's circle in a long time, but obviously has the connections to get the job done with Saffie Joe and Jose Ortiz, has the class running in those tough races and not getting embarrassed. Should sit a pretty decent stocking type of trip here. All the signs are positive, but I don't know. I was really worried about singling. So I did also use the 3 Gemography. I think this horse is kind of the one that could get out to the front. Didn't run very well last time out. I'm hoping that he can kind of rebound from that effort, because before that race, he had been pretty good in pretty much everything we had seen. A lot of firsts and seconds, in a row. Before that poor effort. So hopefully a little bit of a bounce back, but I do think the 3 can get up towards the front and maybe be hard to catch. So I went 2-3 in the spot.
I'm with you on Town Classic. I mean, this horse has run 50 times and has 20 seconds and add 10 more thirds. So this horse is finished second or third 60% of the time, which is I've never seen anything like that in my life. So the fact this horse has run 50 times and has $342,000 would be a great thing if he were running at Fauner Park, or if he were running at Remington. That would be great. This horse should be over $1 million. If you really want to break that down, he runs in the Run Happy. Yeah, he loses to Frenze Fire. Could have beaten Chateau. Runs in the Sir Shackleton. Basin's not all amazing. We can go on and on. The horse is 8 years old. I'm with you. Maybe he just doesn't have the finishing kick. I did use him, but very defensively. You're right about Gemography. I think this is the horse that's probably going to be contending for the lead. I'm not sure what happened last time out. I watched the replay, and he just never looked comfortable. This was a horse that hadn't showed a ton of speed. Now he's on the lead, and then that kind of looked like the end of it. Junior Alvarado gets him 2 starts back, and again him again here. I'm not sure what happened. I don't know if he just broke so sharply Joe Bravo had to take him. Joe Bravo is more aggressive, so maybe he thought getting to the front end would be the right move. But I do like the switch in riders. The 6, Extraordinary Jerry. Now, this horse, based on his last 2 races, makes no sense. Okay, the allowance optional claiming race against Ivar, Callum Road, Vanbrugh, that's on the turf. I have no idea what that was. The race 2 starts back was against Blame. That's probably one of the best Blame fields, considering it had Owendale and Everfast in it. Now, I don't love those horses, but the Blame Stakes usually doesn't come up that strong at Churchill Downs. Owendale is better than a non-graded stakes race to me. That's even though I don't love the horse. I have to go back to 2019 to find a race this horse actually was good in. But having said that, there are a lot of question marks in this field. I can make a legitimate question mark about everyone. If we go through them, Mijos lost to Looking at Bikinis. Looking at Bikinis just ran, I don't think this past weekend, maybe the weekend before. He was not very good. 10 Classic we talked about. Oh, Trouble. I mean, he's stepping up into allowance optional claiming for the first time. He was horrible in a claiming race when he should have won. Yep. He had been looking good. I don't know what that was. I don't want that horse. Jalen Journey, what has he done this year outside of a waiver claiming? That's not going to be good enough either. So I think Extraordinary Jerry is going to be interesting, and this field's going to be really compact. I'm not taking 3-1 on an Asmussen Carmouche at a slightly lesser level at Oaklawn. Was dreadful when he was the favorite.
Yep.
In the Dubai Golden Shaheen, I mean, you could throw that out. I don't really know what he was doing over there. to be honest, I don't know who sent them there. Luckily, there were no odds because he would have been 130,000 to 1. So I'm going to take a shot with the 6. Maybe by some miracle, gets a little fast and he can close. I just don't. I'm with you. I don't trust Town Classic with anything. And I don't think Mijos is all that good. Gemography is the horse that I put on top, though, for the record. I think that horse is very interesting. If we throw that last race out, which seems to be an anomaly, and he was 11.5 to 1, he's been pretty good for the most part. And he's won 17, finished first or second in 17 of the 26. Let's move on. Oh, is there anything else you wanted to add with this field?
Nope. I was just going to say, he is your kind of horse for consistency purposes.
Yeah, and it's good consistency. The problem with Town Classic, it's I shouldn't say it's bad consistency, finishing second or third, but
right. But it is. For our purposes, it is.
Yeah, 60%. He's even bad consistency for exacta players because he's going to be a short price, and if he gets second, well, you're not getting paid. So it's bad all around to use a horse like that. Let's move on to the final race, race 9, with a post time of 7:15. Maiden claiming 40,000 for New York bred, 3-year-old and upward, going 1 mile or 8 furlongs on the grass. We do have a bunch of also eligibles and MTOs. The 13 through 16. The 13 is Webb. The 14 Reunion Tour. The 15 Chasing a Legacy, and the 16 and Rule. Those horses are all MTOs or also eligibles. I hate these races with a passion. I try to take as many as possible. I don't mind them as much on a day like this. I really mind it like on Travers Day. You know, when you have a loaded field and then you throw this at the end of it, it's like a soaring eye.
Yeah,
I do like the 5 Ghostmon a little bit. 2 starts back, almost 11 to 1. No one really knew what he was going to be. Dropping in for a tag, getting to the turf, and he ran well. Then the next time out, he had the right trip. That's the thing that's scary. He should have won that race. That's a race. If you're sitting right there, you come within a half a lane, you're supposed to pass that group. He didn't do it. That's what I put on top. I don't love it. I'll let you kind of talk on a few others because I wanted to see where you went here. So that was my top choice. I know you used him, but you used 2 others that I'm not using at all.
Yeah, so I played the 2, the 5, and the 9. And to touch on the 5 just very quickly, why I put the 5 in second and not first is exactly what you said. You know, first out on the turf, got second, and it's like, that's really encouraging. Last time out, I don't know how you lose. So that's why it's like, I think you have to use the 5, but it's shaky whether that horse is going to get there today. I used the 2 Valerio on top. Second off the claim for Mike Maker. I like that angle a lot. I also like that we get Luis Saez aboard today. And what that tells me is we're going to be a little bit more aggressive with this horse early. we're going to try to get this horse in a little bit of position. And yes, I know, Ghostmon beat this horse last time out. But I think the adjustments by Maker here is going to make a difference. And like I said, having Sai as a board, I really like that angle. So I put the 2 on top. Like I said, I did use the 5. And third, I used the 9, Dream Point. This is another horse. So I used 3 horses coming out of the same race. Another horse, this horse actually finished ahead of Ghostmon last time out. Third race in a row on the turf. And I think that's important because you look at the past performances. This horse has never ran on any surface 3 times in a row. Went to the turf on debut, to the dirt, back to the turf, 2 races on the dirt, now 2 races back on the turf here. Last time out, easily the best race of this one's career. And oh, look who jumps aboard, Jose Ortiz. So he saw something, or at least his jockey. I'm sure Jose Ortiz doesn't give a shit about these races, but at this lower level. But his jockey agent does because he sees an opportunity here and got his jockey aboard this horse. I think Dream Point can jump back here and run pretty decent. My only worry is the pace. I don't know how quick it's going to be, and I think this horse certainly needs some. But, if it speeds up a little bit, I do think the 9 will have a shot as well. So 2, 5, and 9 were the 3 I used to round it out.
The reason I didn't use the 2 and the 9 is because they have the looks of a career maiden to me. And so so at least I'm going to be very wrong or very right. Now, unless the 5 comes in, then we're both right. But it's one of those things where it's like, if I had to pick between the 2 and the 9, I would be taking the 2, Voliero. Because it is Mike Maker. But at 2 starts in a row, it's kind of like the first start I'll throw a line through because maybe, okay, it's Maker and this is going to be second Maker. Maybe he can get him to improve. But I'm with you. Ghostmon already beat that horse, and I have Ghostmon on top. The 9, Dream Point, I have no clue as to why Jose Ortiz is getting aboard. I have absolutely no idea. And last time out, he was close to 17-1. That was kind of like the chance to hop aboard type of thing. I'm not sure. It's going to be a short price here. I guess we're going to find out what this horse is made of. But I guess I prefer the 2. They kind of look like they're going to be running forever, not having won a race. That's for me. That's just me. The 4 I thought was interesting, dressed for the 5th. This horse completely missed the break. Absolutely, completely missed it. The minute he kind of realized what was going on, he was closing. Now, 21-4 for 6 furlongs is probably about right, maybe a touch on the quick side. He was a first-time start, obviously, by Malibu Moon. This horse has more pedigree than the other ones. If you look at like Summer Front with the 2, War Dancer, it's turf pedigree, but it's not great. And some of these horses, like for example, we've seen some Summer Fronts go for a lot more than 27,000, like Voliero was. Malibu Moon, 35,000 goes for 70. I mean, that means he's probably going to be decent. I'd like to see this horse obviously get a firm turf course here, which it hasn't rained in a while, so it should be firm. Joe Rosario hops right back aboard. I thought this horse was interesting, and he closed ground against horses that are probably better than him. Now, it's going to be interesting to see if he's a legitimate closer or not, or if he just missed the break. I guess we're going to find out here, because he closed only because he missed the break. Is he a horse that doesn't have any speed? If that's the case, he's going to have 2 extra furlongs to work with. So I don't know, because if we're going off last race and he gets a mile and they go that fast, now granted they won't go that fast this time around, the quality's not there, and if they do, I would love a closer. That's just not going to happen. He might win that race if he's given 2 extra furlongs. So I'm not entirely the way the race set up. If I'm getting 6-1 on Clement Rosario against a very questionable field, and I'm going to put questionable with an asterisk because that's being nice. So, we've talked about it in person. We've talked about it through text. Like, I want that. Rosario, Clement at 6-1. The other one was the 6. Oh, sorry. Did you want to chime in with the Clement thing real quick?
Nope. I would say I agree.
Oh, yeah. It's just, especially on the grass, no less. The 6 pivotal run. I really liked the debut. I was there as the final weekend of Saratoga. I marked that horse down as a horse to keep an eye on, especially at 53, almost 54 to 1. I was like, oh, this was pretty impressive. Actually got the lead and lost it. Then comes back at Belmont. I don't know what that was. I have no idea. Now, granted, the horse was wide throughout and never had that final kick. The problem that race showed me was he should have closed into that pace. It was 47-3. That's something you're supposed to close into. Even though you're wide, you weren't on the lead. It was a 10-horse field. You were sitting just 1 or 2, maybe 3 spots ahead of the last horse. You're supposed to do better than that. Now he gets gelded, going to drop in class. There's a question mark there too, but he doesn't look like a career maiden because we don't know what he's going to do at this level. Maybe he just stinks. Maybe he's just brutal. I don't know. But what I do know is he's going to drop in class. Eric Hansel, more than capable. Michelle Nevin's been pretty good in the money in 9 of 23 at the meet, 4 of 23 winners. So that's 17%. That's fine. That's where I went here. This is another wide open group. Now, I want to revise something that I've said before. Now, a lot of these runners, like if the 2 wins or the 9 wins, I'll be wrong. That's fine. But those horses are not going to win after this. They look like horses that maybe if they win once, which is in this spot, that's it. But if the 6 were to win, or the 4, 5, or 6, those are horses that maybe can get better. So do you agree with that point? Or are you saying, oh, maybe the 2 runs well now with Mike Maker? Forget about the Michael Dubb part, but maybe this horse gets speed with Sias. Maybe he becomes a better horse. Or do you agree with my assessment where it's like the 4, 5, and 6 look like they have potential to win a race past this spot?
I would agree with that. I mean, you want horses that are winning maiden claimers. You want them to have like 2, 3 races under their belt, or even 1, because you don't want that long list of failures, and that's what you're alluding to here. The only caveat is kind of what you mentioned with the 2. Mike Maker, this is it, right? If that horse is going to improve, it's going to be today, second time off the claim for Maker. If he can't get anything going with this horse here, then yeah, he's probably got no chance to win. I'm with you, especially on the 6. I think because there's been some changes, right? There was a layoff. The horse was gelding. That's a huge change for the horse. Showed some talent on debut, like you said, and then just disappointed, and probably disappointed because the horse had some issues. Now we're coming back, and it is very possible the horse just isn't any good or isn't ready to run today. It's also very possible that they've done enough adjusting to where they can get the most out of their horse. At least they're trying to do that. So I would be most interested in the 6, as far as a horse that, well, maybe he isn't just awful. So but we'll see. But for the most part, not a good race. Most of these horses, when they win, if they win, whoever wins, somebody's got to win this race, probably going to go to a claimer after this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'd be shocked. No matter how many these horses, how well they do, I'd be completely shocked if one of them were to do anything after this. Let's round out our tickets here, Aaron. I'll let you start first in race number 6.
Yeah, I put a $48 ticket together here. I went 3, 4, 10, and 12 to kick it off in race 6, 4, 6, 7, and 9 in race 7. I went with a 2, 3 in race 8, and I really think Town Classic is the one to beat, but hasn't won in a while, so we'll see what happens with him. Also used the 3, and then the 2, 5, and the 9 to round it out.
Yeah, I went with the 3, 4, and 7 in race 6. I think the 3 and 4 are a step above, but we're going to find out if Democratic Values can eliminate that last race. It was the race that he never got the lead, and that was it there. The 7th race, I went with the 4, 5, 7, and 9. This is one of the more wide open races. There are question marks about all of them. But the 9 is very interesting, trying to attack winners for the first time. I think that's the storyline there. The next race, I went with 2, 3, and 6. Again, like Aaron said, I'm very skeptical of Town Classic, even though he's probably the most talented horse. He just likes to run with them. Let's see what Extraordinary Jerry does. Can Extraordinary Jerry win a race for the first time in almost 2 years? Not almost 2 years. We're September. I don't know. That's like 20 months, something like that, 21 months. It's been a long time. And the last one I went 4, 5, and 6. Any horse that basically had 5 starts or more, I'm throwing you out. I could be wrong with that theory. Could be right with that theory. But we're going to find out. Aaron and I have Ghostmon in our mix, but I'm very interested in the Clement horse. Clement and Joel Rosario dressed for the 5th. But that's going to do it for us today. We didn't have one comment from anyone, so that was interesting. Aaron, any shout out to your name before we go? Your name is Alo. Give everyone an indication or some background of why Alo is your name today.
Yeah, big win last night for the OU softball team. So maybe this will get the comments rolling real quick before we leave here. Yeah, OU softball evens up the series with Florida State. We got Game 3, which will decide the national championship today, 3 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure to check that out in the afternoon. And Alo, she is the home run king, more home runs than anybody ever in a season. And she hit the go-ahead home run last night. And listen, you may think I'm crazy, but people are interested. There were 13,000 people in that stadium last night, and it's in Oklahoma City, which is just about 45 minutes north of the campus there at Oklahoma. And it was definitely a pro-OU crowd, very, very loud crowd. So big game, national championship decided today at 3 o'clock.
I do want to bring up a point. I don't think that's fair. And now, granted, it's in Oklahoma City every year. But it's a massive, massive disadvantage for Florida State. Now, that's just the way the cookie crumbles, one would say. But it's really, really tough. You're essentially playing 3 road games. So the fact, I think Oklahoma's been the best team all year, and it really hasn't been close. So the fact that Florida State's even forcing the Game 3, I think is pretty impressive. They do hit a lot of home runs, though. I will say I'm not a softball fan, never going to be a softball fan, but Oklahoma is definitely one of the better teams to watch if I was forced to watch. I'm not forced, but I will support my fellow Sooner comrade. I will be watching. It is an early start. I thought to myself, why is it so early? Well, the NBA playoffs are taking prime stage at like 7:10 and 9:40. Didn't take long to get past that one. So, last night, it was like prime TV, 7 o'clock. ESPN had nothing else to show. They have the playoffs. It's not going to be not going to compete with the playoffs.
No.
To your point, though, about people caring, I think people in that area care, just like the College World Series in baseball. Like people in Omaha care, but I don't know how many people outside of that care.
That's where I'm at as well. If I wasn't an OU fan, I would not be watching it. No,
and I'm only going to be watching to support you. So Steve Williams chimes in with FSU. So I guess there's a little Florida State Oklahoma rivalry here.
There you go.
So I guess someone will be rooting for Florida State.
I told you the softball would get the comments going, didn't I? So
you did.
Yeah. Now, for the record, Steve, and again, my softball knowledge is limited to basically I don't know anything, but I do watch the College World Series. I like FSU. Like if we lost to Alabama, I hate Alabama and everything. Doesn't matter what they're wearing. But Florida State, those girls seem like pretty good girls. I like both their pitchers. I like a few of their players. I've gotten where I like them. So if we lose, it might as well be to them.
Well, it's kind of funny you bring that up. I'm the other way. I absolutely hate Florida State with a passion.
Why?
It's the whole ACC thing,
okay.
and their Seminole chop is one of the worst things. I don't care, not even like on it's just annoying, not regarding like the history behind it. I just think it's incredibly annoying.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Well,
I went to a Florida State OU game. OU was number 1 and Florida State was 4 or 5. I can't remember the year. But yeah, when they had 80,000 people doing that chop, that was pretty awesome. And we won the game. That's why I have fond memories of it too. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And when the Seminole comes out to midfield and throws the spear.
Chief Osceola.
That's amazing. That is one of the coolest things pregame I've seen. I've been to a lot of different college football games and seen a lot of different traditions. That is awesome.
Well, one of these days, Chief Osceola is going to fall off, and I'll be the first one peeing my pants. But having said that, that's going to do it for us today. Where can I buy? Okay, here's a question. Where can I buy a Racing Dude shirt? He's in Montreal, Canada. Okay, do we have an answer to that?
If you go to Old Smoke Clothing, we've got a page on there. That would be the best place to go. If you're friendly to Jared, he'll probably just send you one for free. I'm not in charge of it, or I would certainly, send you one. I'm not in charge of it, but if you're going to be on, if you're doing comments on Blinkers Off, just comment to Jared that you really want a shirt, and he'll send you one.
So, because I think I'm a decent host, I'm going to share the image. I'm going to not the image, but I'm going to share what the Old Smoke page looks like. Here we go. If you go to oldsmokeclothing.com/racing dudes, this is what it looks like. Their hats, there's all that type of jazz, all the t-shirts you're going to want. If you're looking for a Rocket Hour or a Ricky Rocket shirt,
nobody is.
Well, that's not true. My family asked me about it, but you're not going to find one. You're not going to find one. But at the same time, that's where you can do it, oldsmokeclothing.com. If you guys are interested in other products from other, there's a lot of stuff on there. It's not just Racing Dudes, obviously. So take a look. I don't know how the U.S., Canada shipping works. You got to kind of do your own research there, but this is the website. Aaron, I watched the game last night. It was great. The girl pitchers got so pumped, and the girls are very good athletes. I'll let you respond or draw from that.
So, two things. Number one, I can't watch baseball because it's so fucking boring, and the players are so boring. The softball players actually show emotion, and it's kind of fun to watch. And I'll say this, college baseball, if you watched Arkansas and Nebraska, that was awesome because they were shit-talking the whole game to each other. And the fans were going crazy, and the players were really into it. It was great. I love it. And you're right. These girls are good athletes. You watch the catch. I can't even think of the girl's name because, like I said, I don't know shit about softball. But number 12 for OU made a great catch out in the outfield. And then one of the Florida State outfielders made a great catch as well. They're very good on the infield. It's pretty clean. You don't see a lot of errors or things like that, but I love it. Baseball, it's like all these unwritten rules. You can't do this. You can't do that. Don't show emotion when you hit a home run. That's why your sport is so freaking boring. I'm sorry. I used to love baseball. I used to watch every game the Cardinals and the Atlanta Braves played, and I can't watch one inning of Major League Baseball anymore.
Well, now that his rant is done, I guess I have to now after all that, I really wish there was no winner between Florida State and Oklahoma, because now I wanted to root against Oklahoma. I also don't like Florida State. So if it were up to me, there'd be a rain delay all day and no one plays. I'm going to be the Grinch.
What about this? Because you've been watching hockey. I know you have. Don't forget Colorado Vegas tonight. This should be a classic.
Well, if Aaron listened to me yesterday, I told him the Islanders offhand before we got on. I said the Islanders are just a better team. And you go, I think Boston's a better team. Well, if you watched last night, it was rocking out in Nassau at the Nassau Coliseum right near the Belmont. It's about 15 minutes further east. I think UBS Arena is going to be the new place. It's actually right outside of Belmont. They probably can share parking lots, honestly. Tonight, though, I still believe Colorado's a better team. On their best day, I think Colorado's a better team. The problem is Colorado is much more like this. They're really poor or they're really good. I think Vegas was more of that streamline. So for me, I usually like consistency. I think Colorado really comes out and plays well today. another comment, Boston had too many injuries. They just weren't the better team. Fair enough. There were injuries, but Rask was horrible the last couple games. Absolutely horrible.
He played bad. Yeah.
Yeah, and if your goalie's going to be bad, it doesn't really matter. Just like I think it was Marc-Andre Fleury gave up one of the worst goals that I've seen at the end of the first period. Now, granted, I've never played hockey. Just off his reaction alone on Brandon Saad's shot, told you it was a bad goal.
Yeah.
Anyone who tries to reach across like that, and mind you, there was only 2 seconds left, so you knew a shot was coming. It's not like it was 5-1 and there were 3 minutes left and his mind might have not been focused. Like, you know a shot's coming. Even Brandon Saad was shocked when the horn went off. So I'm going to go Colorado. I'm going to say Colorado 3-2. Aaron, what do you think?
I'm with you. I'm going to go Colorado. I think they're going to win like 5-3. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think it's going to be a pretty wild one. You watch this series, it feels like a wide open shootout. And you know, to Marc-Andre Fleury's credit, now you've dogged him, and it's true. That was absolutely brutal. He's been great in this series, and Grubauer's been pretty damn good in this series as well. It's been pretty wide open. I think they're going to win this thing. I think they're going to jump out and get the lead again, and I don't think they're going to blow it like last time. Vegas. He's saying Vegas. So Vegas 2-0. I don't think they'll shut them out. I'll be shocked if they shut them out. But listen, I think it's the two best teams. I think Tampa's good too. I'd love to see the winner of this play Tampa, but I think Colorado gets it done. You know what the great thing about hockey is? We really don't have any massive markets left. We have Tampa. We have the Islanders, which I guess is New York City, but it's not the Rangers. We have Montreal, so we have a non-United States city. And then we have Denver, or we have Vegas, which, Montreal's ready. If Montreal's been on a roll. I don't know what they beat in Winnipeg. That team's not great. They're good, not great. They couldn't score. But we're going to find out. Carey Price. Yeah, he's fantastic. I mean, Carey Price is, in my book, the best goalie when he's at his best. If you just take him at all their best, Carey Price, and maybe he's not the best, he's at least top 2 or 3. Yeah. And he's playing like the best goalie right now. Vasilevsky's really good as well, and you can go up and down the list. But yeah, no, it should be a good game tonight. I think this was a Game 7 series all along. If it was 3-0, a team would have won 3 in a row. Like, that's just kind of my feeling. And I think both teams deserve a Game 7, and it would be a great Game 7. We haven't seen that. Could be why I'm picking Colorado. I just feel like it's a 7-game series, Yeah, and sometimes in sports you don't really know why. You just have a feeling. On my Twitter, someone also said, "Go OU, anyone but Florida State," and then he put 2 gator emojis. So maybe the Florida fan. Who are we going with, Tampa Bay or the Islanders? I think Tampa Bay is just much better. I think they got too much firepower. I really do. I also don't trust the Islanders when it comes to their offense. It's very chippy, and what I mean by that is they need deflections. They like this. I don't know what the skill level is like for the Islanders. Last night they had a rebound goal to start right away. They have a lot of grit and a lot of toughness. If it gets to a chippy series, the Islanders should do well there. But if it's free skating, not as physical like this Boston series was, I believe the Lightning will get it done. But that's going to do it for us. We talked a lot of hockey here. I'm not, I don't know a lot about hockey, but I think I held my own. I think what we learned is people want to talk about the softball and the hockey. That's what's going on today, right? Well, the biggest news of the night: the United States continues to roll 4-0 over Costa Rica. This team is on fire. If you don't like soccer, maybe it's not for you. But the Euros start tomorrow as well. Italy and Turkey opening match. We got some French Open semifinals going on today and tomorrow. So there's a lot going on. So then obviously Saratoga
starting in a month. So this is a great time in sports, but that's going to do it for us. Hopefully Aaron has a smile on his face tomorrow if Oklahoma wins. If he loses, maybe his name will just be a bunch of crab legs to indicate Jameis Winston's team got the job done. But that's going to do it for us. Good luck if you're playing Belmont or Churchill or anything like that. I have Indiana Grand up for the first time on racingdudes.com. I don't think I've ever done a full product of Indiana Grand. Maybe Indiana Derby Day last year. I don't remember. All the post times are a little mixed up today. Indiana Grand at 3:25 Eastern time. Belmont at 3:05 Eastern time. Churchill Downs at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So nothing starting anytime soon. But that's going to do it for us today. Good luck if you're playing. Let us know what you think, what you thought, anything like that. Hopefully we see a Game 7, this Colorado series, and Aaron and I were right. And hopefully the Sooners get it done. Maybe Jocelyn Alla will continue to add to her home run tally. Well, I guess you're going to have to find out. You're going to have to watch it and find out. Throw it on in the background if you're working. Get some background noise. But that's going to do it for us. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. We will cover Belmont again on Friday, June 11th. Everyone stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow.